A very good evening to you. You're right on time for Friday night. My name is Olive Burrows, standing in for one Lillian Muli. I'll also be joined tonight by Stephen Leto from the Amboseli National Park, where he's been covering the Ma Cultural and Tourism Festival. Here's what else we have lined up for you in this news hour. You do not care about Kenyans. Activists accuse Kenya Kwanza administration of failing to respond to plight of Kenyans in Tanzania after election chaos. Investigate the disappearance of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo. Foreign Affairs CS Musalia Mudavadi's letter to Uganda on missing Kenyan activists. Use this money for business. President Ruto hands youth cash and asks them to question every politician seeking their votes. Meet Fred Matiang'i. Former President Kenyatta introduces Jubilee Party presidential aspirant to Murang'a grassroots leaders. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. Human rights organizations in the country now allege that up to 3,000 people may have been killed in Tanzania in the wake of post-election violence. The groups further warn that many of the victims could have been secretly buried in a mass grave, heightening concerns over a possible cover-up. These revelations emerge even as the family of Kenyan teacher John Okoth Ogutu, who was shot and killed in Tanzania, continues to agonize, uncertain whether they will ever recover his remains for a dignified burial. Kicking us off on Friday night is Citizen TV's Ben Kirui.
Human rights groups claim more than 3,000 people may have been killed in Tanzania and are secretly buried in mass graves in various parts of the country during the recently concluded sham elections, raising fears of a large-scale human rights violation.
In a very bizarre situation, they even disappear dead bodies. So they disappear live people, and then they proceed also to disappear dead bodies because they think that they are going to hide, the evidence of what they have done.
The Suluhu regime has been digging mass graves across Tanzania, especially in Mabopande, to hurriedly conceal the bodies of victims. A worker involved in burying unclaimed bodies says he has never seen so many corpses all his life.
The activist calling on regional and international bodies to take action on the Tanzania issue that appears to be coming to light with the lifting of the internet and communications blackout implemented during the elections period that acted as cover-up for Tanzania's government to conduct itself without accountability.
Not only have there been massive human rights violations, but also there is a massive cover-up that is happening at the moment.
We call upon the governments of Kenya, the African Union, SADC, the East African Cooperation, and the United Nations to act decisively and protect Tanzanians, Kenyans in Tanzania, and other foreign nationals.
Overwhelmed by emotion, the family of John Okoth Ogutu broke down as they met with human rights advocates to press for swift intervention that will compel the Tanzanian government to release the body of their loved one who was killed in the neighboring country.
Mr. President, please come out and assist us. We need to put a closure to this as a family. We are tortured emotionally, psychologically. Things can't move on. We are tortured. We are appealing for the body of John.
Mama Suluhu and the government of Kenya, I plead with them to fear the Lord. Because without fear of the Lord, we are not going to make it. We are not going to make it.
Ogutu was shot dead in Tanzania amid post-election unrest. On Thursday, the Kenyan government confirmed his killing and assured the family that plans to repatriate his remains had begun. However, The family is urging authorities to fast-track the process, saying the prolonged wait is only deepening their pain.
Tuliwapea mwalimu, mbona mnatuacha mikono mitupu hata bila mwili? Jameni, tunaomba mwili.
Meanwhile, fear and uncertainty continue to haunt Ogutu's relatives, who remain unsure whether they will ever retrieve his body for a dignified burial. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Staying with the state of human rights in the region, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has escalated attempts at engagement with Ugandan authorities over the disappearance of Kenyan citizens Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo in Kampala 37 days ago. Witness testimony having implicated Ugandan security agents in their reported abduction. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has expressed frustration to Uganda's Minister of Foreign Affairs at their failure to provide answers despite repeated inquiries. A resounding nothing has resulted from repeated inquiries from Kenya to Uganda through diplomatic channels on the status of Kenyan nationals and activists Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, who were reportedly abducted from a petrol station in Kampala on the 1st of October while campaigning for Ugandan opposition figure Bobi Wine. In a letter to Uganda's Minister of Foreign Affairs dated a week ago, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi expressed frustration that previous attempts to engage on the matter had yielded a yawning silence. Mudavadi writing to General Odongo Abubakar, this communication follows up on the note verbal dated October the 3rd, 2025. It also follows additional engagements by Ambassador in Kampala and phone calls between our principal permanent secretaries. It is with profound concern that I note nearly a month has elapsed since our initial communication, and the government of the Republic of Kenya is yet to receive a formal response from the government of the Republic of Uganda regarding the whereabouts and well-being of our nationals in question. Mudavadi not seeking merely a response, but answers on what action the government of Uganda has taken in response to the concern formally raised by Kenya on the safety of its citizens last seen in Uganda. Mudavadi noting with concern the recent dismissal by a Ugandan High Court of a habeas corpus application seeking their production by security agents. In the application, it was submitted that the two were in Ugandan military custody. Mudavadi impressing on his Ugandan counterpart that, as Your Excellency is aware, we are both duty-bound to the protection and safety of our citizens, both at home and abroad. We believe that prompt action on this matter is therefore important to upholding our shared values, honouring the treaty for the establishment of the East African Community, and preserving the strong, long-standing relations between Kenya and Uganda. In a concerted effort to exert pressure and secure the cooperation of the Ugandan government, the civil society has invited concerned citizens to petition President Yoweri Museveni in an email campaign. President William Ruto has urged young people to be vigilant when politicians seek their votes in the upcoming elections. He made the remarks in Kakamega, where hundreds of youth received funding to start businesses under the Nyota program. With more is Miriam Nyambura.
President William Ruto launched the Nyota Project Fund for Youth at Mumia Sports Complex in Kakamega County on Friday. The fund, worth 5 billion shillings, aims to empower young people to start and grow their businesses. The president emphasized the importance of such initiatives.
Najua itafikia vijana wote. Tumesema program ambayo inafuata ni ile program ambayo itatarget wale ambao wanatafuta nafasi ya kupata ujuzi.
The head of state urged young people to be wise, ask tough questions and scrutinize every leader's promises before making electoral decisions.
Kuna wanasiasa wanaambia vijana ati mujipange, muchukue kura ndio muwapigie kura. Lakini hawaambii hiyo kura unapiga itakusaidia wewe na nini. Yeye anataka kuwa bwana mkubwa na wewe utapata nini. Wengine wanasukuma fanya maandamano ndio mimi nipate uongozi. Wewe piga kura ndio mimi nipate uongozi. Nataka umuulize, wewe ukipata uongozi na mimi nitapata nini?
70 young entrepreneurs in each of the 1,450 wards will benefit from a 50,000 shillings grant.
Kuna watu watakuambia 25,000 haiwezi kufanya chochote. Kuna watu watakuambia shilingi 50,000 haiwezi kufanya chochote. Lakini mimi nataka kukueleza, ukitumia akili, ukijipanga vizuri, 50,000 can make a difference in your life and can grow your business. Na ndio sababu hiyo, I am standing before you to thank the World Bank Group for being our partners.
The NYOTA program is one of the solutions to address the complex challenges of youth employment with a particular focus on jobs today.
President Ruto noted that the NYOTA Fund will complement existing youth loan initiatives such as the Hustler Fund, the Women's Fund and the Youth Fund. He asked the youth to use the money strictly for business purposes. Marian Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Jubilee Party leader Uhuru Kenyatta is calling for an end to dirty politics and the use of abusive and inciting rhetoric. Kenyatta is instead urging leaders across the political divide to sell their political agenda to Kenyans ahead of the 2027 elections. Addressing party grassroots leaders in Murang'a County, the former president urged President William Ruto to complete some of the projects he initiated, at the same time advocating for youth involvement in leadership and decision-making in all the arms of government. Seth Olale reports.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta officially introduced his new deputy party leader, Fred Okengo Matiang'i, to Mount Kenya grassroots delegates in Murang'a County. In urging the party leaders to end politics of personalized attacks using abusive and inciting remarks, the Jubilee Party leader advocated for political tolerance and objective rivalry among politicians as the nation inches closer towards the 2027 general election.
Kwa sababu tusiposhikana, tutaendelea na huu uhasima, na huu uhasima huwezi kutusaidia na huwezi kutusongesha mbele.
The former head of state urging his successor to complete some of the projects he initiated in order to boost infrastructure and service delivery to the people.
Kuna yale ambaye tulitimiza na kuna yale ambaye yalikuwa yamebaki, ambaye yalikuwa yatakikana kuendelea.
How can it take 3 years to complete a project that we ourselves estimated ought to have been completed by now?
President William Ruto's administration called upon to embrace youth participation across all arms of leadership in order to realize an impactful transformational agenda.
They must be given an opportunity to take positions of leadership. Yeah? So that they are in a position to determine for themselves.
The opposition outfit reiterating that it is in the umbrella United Opposition seeking to unseat President William Ruto through the 2027 presidential polls.
We are working with others in the United Opposition. Na tutafanya kazi kwa heshima. We are part of them.
The Jubilee Party says it is preparing for the mother of all battles come the 2027 general election by ensuring that it produces Kenya's 6th president as well as majority representatives in parliament and county assemblies. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Thika Greens, Murang'a County.
On to matters education now, and the government has denied reports of an impending increase in boarding school fees for senior secondary schools from January next year. Speaking in Machakos while overseeing the distribution of Kenya's Certificate of Secondary Education exam papers, the Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba dismissed a report titled Guidelines for the Implementation of Senior School Education, released earlier in the week, saying that there was no new circular or directive issued to alter the existing fee structure. Ogamba said the fee which has been in place since 2021 remains in force until schools are otherwise directed.
The approved rates of capitation remain in place. Kenya shilling 1,420 per learner per year in primary school, 15,042 per learner per year in junior school, and 22,244 per learner per year in senior school. This is an appropriate opportunity for me to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, that the government has not revised any fees payable by learners at any level of basic education. The approved boarding fees remains as has always been since 2015. Reports therefore appearing in sections of the media to the contrary are incorrect.
Kenya Kwanza leaders raised 8 million shillings in a funds drive meant to empower women in Kilombe, Turbo, Uasin Gishu County. The leaders said they will continue with the empowerment program to ensure ordinary Kenyans get an economic boost. They called on Kenyans to ignore tribalism and focus on unity to foster development. And the Kenya Kwanza team in Kilombe asked Kenyans to register with SHA to get healthcare services from government hospitals. They said Kenyans who are against SHA are rich and wealthy people who can afford treatment outside the country.
Tumekuja kufanyia vikundi ya kina mama ili waweze kufaulu. Mambo hiyo yote inawezekana. Watu wanapokaa chini wanapanga, mimi nataka muwe wafanye biashara. Mimi sehemu haiwezi kujengwa eti tu kazi ya kina mama ni kuimbia watu. Tunataka watu wakuje wasaidie watu mashinani.
All right, I did mention that we will be joined by Stephen Leto in Kajiado County. Steve, I see you are all decked out in Maasai regalia as the Maa Cultural and Tourism Festival is being marked. Now, of significance is the transfer of deed for the Amboseli National Park from the national government to the county government. What can you tell us about that?
Well, good evening to you, Olive Barros there in studio. Indeed, tonight I'm dressed in full Maa regalia. Just for the information, this is a blend of the Ilchamus of Baringo and Samburu traditional wear. You will be seeing a lot of this tomorrow as Maa-speaking communities from across the country and beyond, from Kwale in Kinango to Laikipia, to Baringo South, to Samburu and to Laisamis in Marsabit, all have gathered here for the past few days, and tomorrow will be the culmination of this particular festival that will have what you've just mentioned, the transfer of deed, an historic moment that is President William Ruto will be handing over officially the Amboseli National Park to the community of Kajiado under the custodianship of the Kajiado County Government, now under the leadership of Governor Joseph Jama Olelenku. Tomorrow will be a day that will be celebrated in one way or another by the Maa-speaking communities who will be gathered here, because the handover of Amboseli National Park to the community has been something that has been of a legal, protracted legal, confrontation between the community and successive governments. And tomorrow that marks the end. It has already been officially gazetted, and this pronouncement was made in 2020 actually Narok during the first edition of the Maa Cultural and Tourism Festival in Narok County. And tomorrow that marks the end of that long wait by the people of Kajiado. Remember, a lot of significance will be coming with it, from on-source revenue to be generated by the county government of Kajiado. Olive, another most important thing is the details in that deed of transfer from the national government and to the the county government of Kajiado. It means the national government, according to that deed, is still holding on to 70% of the revenue in the first year, that is the 2025-2026, the current financial year. And 2026-2027, the national government and the county government of Kajiado will be sharing a 50-50 revenue share, as they plan to do now a final transfer that will be in the 2027-2028 financial year, whereby the county government of Kajiado will enjoy full benefits in terms of revenue share and bag 100%. And so, Olive, it's all excitement. Even today, during the singing, the dances that dominated the third day of the cultural festival here in Amboseli, it showed the excitement and the anticipation for tomorrow. Olive.
I see you're properly representing the Chamus we know in common, Melita Olateges. But what has this meant, and what will it mean for the people of Kajiado? Is there, a sentiment on the ground?
Remember, there will be a sentimental value indeed. There has been an example, for instance, for the communities or the people of Narok County, where you've seen that the county government of Narok has been collecting billions of shillings through tourism funds. And that particular, revenue goes deep into the communities to help in terms of even education, in terms of, boosting the livelihoods here, even creating more employment. Remember now, as it is now currently under the Kenya Wildlife Service, which is under the national government, and once the deed of transfer is made tomorrow, then it means now there will be a transition from Kenya Wildlife Service to now the rangers that will be taking care of the animals inside the Amboseli National Park, and all that means there will be more recruitment of rangers from this particular region and beyond. And so for the locals here, they will be having opened up economic activities in terms of getting them access to tourists, and even getting them to interact with them directly and having themselves benefit. Remember, there will be conservancies all around this particular national reserve now, that is the Amboseli, whereby the community will also be undertaking the conservation and dealing directly in terms of taking part in conserving the Amboseli and taking care of the animal. They will all equally be benefiting from all the funds that will be allocated and channeled to the conservancies and to the conservation and protection of wildlife. Remember, this is also the home of the Big Five. This is where the unique, animals and game and game happens right here by the elephants inside the Amboseli. And so it will be very sentimental for the people and the communities of Kajiado. But there has been a very big question that even when it was under the Kenya Wildlife Service, it has always been having a lot of questions with regard to human-wildlife conflict. How is that going to be handled during this particular transition? Is the transition going to leave the communities around Amboseli much exposed? Those are some of the questions that we expected all the three governors from Kajiado, the host Joseph Jama Ole Lenku, the governor for Narok Patrick Ole Ntutu, as well as the governor for Samburu Jonathan Lati Lelelit, who are supposed to be seated right behind me to answer all those questions that the community is asking. More also the community is asking is, why has the transfer been done, yet only in this financial year the county government of Kajiado will be receiving 30% and not 100% in the very first year after the deed of transfer? Those are the questions we also expect President William Ruto and his dignitaries that will be coming here tomorrow, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, to be answering before the people or before the communities that will be seated right here in Old Tukai, Amboseli, Kajiado South constituency. Olive.
All right, Stephen, we look forward to hearing the outcome of that conversation, and tutapatana hapa kesho, and then in the office later, where I hope you will be generous enough to have brought me back some of those beautiful beads. All right, away from matters, Amboseli National Park, a former British soldier wanted by Kenyan authorities appeared in a London court after being arrested in connection with the alleged murder of Agnes Wanjiru in 2012 in Nanyuki. The soldier appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court for extradition proceedings to begin. He was remanded into custody until his next appearance at the same court on November the 14th. Britain's National National Crime Agency said the suspect was a former soldier who was arrested on Thursday by specialist officers after a warrant was issued. All right, we take a break on Friday night, but coming up, thank you for staying with us on Friday night. And if you're just joining us, I have an update for you. A former British soldier wanted by Kenyan authorities appeared in a London court after being arrested in connection with the alleged murder of Agnes Wanjiru in 2012 in Nanyuki. The soldier appeared at the Westminster Magistrates Court for extradition proceedings to begin. He was remanded into custody until his next appearance at the same court on November the 14th. Britain's National Crime Agency said the suspect was a former soldier who was arrested on Thursday by specialist officers after a warrant was issued. Now, the family of the late J.M. Kariuki today held a memorial service for his widow, Terry Wanjiru Kariuki, who passed away on the 30th of last month while receiving treatment at Nairobi Hospital. Speaking at their residence in Kilimani, Nairobi, the family described the deceased as a caring and humble mother who was able to mix well with different people. The late Mama Terry will be laid to rest at the J.M. Kariuki family farm in Gilgil on the 11th of this month.
Heartbroken, we are as a family, but we will have to get through it. We will have to get through it.
Terry actually lived a very simple life. She had a lot, but she lived as if she had nothing. She loved also the poor people. They are marginalized. They are unprivileged people. God does not do something without a reason. I'm sure he has already filled her gap, though her shoes are so big, but with God, everything is possible.
Some beautiful tributes there. The Jipange na Viusasa caravan continues to traverse the western region, touring Bungoma and Busia counties today. The grassroots campaign is celebrating 8 years of Viusasa, Kenya's leading online video on-demand platform, where video content consumers stand a chance to win up to 2 million shillings. Radio Citizen, Mulembe FM, Vuka FM and Sulu FM presenters are part of the caravan, spreading the Jipange na Viusasa message across the region.
On the home stretch of the 4-day Western tour, the caravan made stopovers in Kimaiti, Muyanga, Mungatsi, Nambale and finally Koyonzo, where excited fans turned up in large numbers. To interact with their favorite radio personalities from Radio Citizen, Sulu FM, Mulembe FM and Vuka FM, who came loaded with gifts from Viusasa. With 50 shillings, Kenyans can subscribe on Viusasa, enjoy exclusive video content, and stand a chance to win big.
Unapata pointi mingi sana na unakuwa mshindi wa 1,050 kila siku, 1,500 kila wiki, ama milioni 2 grand prize. Unaona kwamba jana Webuye chamari yangia 50,000.
As people continue to participate in the promotion and to watch our content, we will continue to award and reward them on this 8th anniversary. We are also looking for content providers. If you're a musician, you're an artist, you're a rapper.
Ni burudani kwenye msafara na pia nafasi ya kipekee kupata kukutana na wasikilizaji wetu. Najua mara nyingi hatupati fursa kama hii, lakini kwa ushirikiano na Jipange na Viusasa tunakutana nao. Nafikiri Christmas ya mapema imekuja.
The Jipange na Viusasa caravan will conclude its western tour tomorrow with final stops across towns in Kakamega County. Steve Shitera, Citizen TV, Bumala, Busia.
I saw one of our directors there was really feeling that reggae. We take a break on a Friday night, but coming up, business. Kenya, Uganda and South Sudan to undertake feasibility study on the Naivasha-Kisumu-Malaba railway line. Kenya, Uganda and South Sudan have embarked on a 9-week feasibility study for the proposed Naivasha-Kisumu-Malaba railway line. The three countries are jointly assessing the technical and financial viability of extending the modern railway from Naivasha to the Malaba border, with the line expected to extend to South Sudan. According to transport ministers from the three countries, the line is a crucial link in East Africa's transport network. According to Kenya's Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, the line aims to unlock regional economies by improving cargo movement and cutting logistics costs, noting that currently the railway line between Mombasa and Naivasha only accounts for 20% of all the cargo transport, an issue that the government hopes can be addressed upon completion of the line. The government also plans to open the upgraded railway to private operators who will use the infrastructure and pay toll fees, a model aimed at improving efficiency and attracting investment.
Of the project, there's quite a bit of social investment, because investment in infrastructure to open up a country does not necessarily many times need to meet profitability. Otherwise, we'll never build roads, we'll never build the railway lines, because that's how you grow a country. You open up the country for movements of goods to market, and therefore there is more of financial return on investment, but there is more economic return on investment. In fact, the broader growth of the economy.
We know in East Africa, we invest a lot of money in repairing roads. Why? Because most of our cargo, we have been taking it by road. And also, the roads are congested because the passengers compete with cargo. Now, what we are here now, we want cargo to move from Mombasa. It comes to Nairobi, it goes to Naivasha, enters to Kisumu, comes to Uganda, through Malaba, it goes to Gulu, it goes to Nimule, up to Juba. That's South Sudan. Then there we can also tap into the market of DRC. There are a lot of things Kenya needs from DRC.
Kenya's job market is changing faster than the skills being taught in learning institutions. A report by MasterCard and Brighter Monday shows employers are struggling to find qualified talent, even as millions of young people remain unemployed. The findings warn that unless training keeps pace with demand, the country risks missing out on its youth dividend. Here is Jasmine Wambui with the details.
The country's workforce is young and eager, but many remain unprepared for the jobs of today and tomorrow. The Skills Gap and Gender Analysis Report 2025 by MasterCard and Brighter Monday shows that 62% of employers believe graduates lack the skills the market needs. With over 75% of the country's population under 35, the report warns that Kenya's youth potential could go untapped if training does not match the industry's demand. ICT and digital literacy have emerged as the most sought-after skills, ranked as critical by 3 in 4 employers. Communication, teamwork and problem-solving also top the list of soft skills employers say are essential. But access to digital opportunities remains uneven, and nearly 90% of employers now recruit online, yet only a quarter of rural and peri-urban youth have access to reliable internet.
So these days, it's easy for somebody, if you just say, who are you? Ahmed Inochin, the first thing they do is they go to LinkedIn, and then they want to see what is your profile, what are your qualifications and all that. If you don't have a presence there, already they put doubt into who you are.
The report further saying that women and persons with disabilities remain underrepresented in fast-growing sectors such as ICT, fintech and construction. For most young job seekers, internships and apprenticeships remain the main entry point into employment.
Between 2022 and 2025, we noticed that 90% of new jobs that were created were in the informal sector.
And to close the skills gap, the report calls for closer collaboration between training institutions and employers, curriculum reforms guided by industry demand, and broader access to affordable internet and digital devices across all 47 counties. Jasmine Wamboi, Citizen TV.